David, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You've got an oil leak on your Suburban. Tell me about it and tell me what you need from me to help you.
220,000 miles.
God, this is high mileage day. Everybody's got 200,000 miles on their car. Think about that. How many times around the world is that? 8 times around the world. Did you ever have intake manifold gaskets?
I just had that replaced, yes.
Okay, all right. So what's your question now?
That seemed to be a source of the leak, but it's still leaking. And then my last oil change, they told me it's leaking around the oil pan gasket.
Okay.
And I did have a new transmission put in at 200,000 miles, and I wish I had known, but the mechanic did not replace the rear main seal at that time, which is a tragedy.
Well, it is a tragedy. That's one of the things that we do. If the car had, if for some reason you broke a transmission, which you wouldn't do, but let's just say the car had 5 miles on it. Well, not 5, but let's just say that it had 100,000 miles. Anytime and every time we pull the transmission out of a car, we got this rear main seal staring at us in the face saying, touch me if you dare, don't touch me if you dare. And there's not a case that I am aware of where we haven't replaced that part. And I will tell my customers, and it takes about 45 minutes once you've got the transmission out. And I'll tell Brian and Julian, who are the service director of the service shop, and deal one-on-one with our service customers. Listen, you can give them the seal at whatever the hard cost is just for the seal and charge 25 minutes or give it to them. But please don't put us in the liability on a position so that when our customer picks up a transmission repair, the rear main seal is leaking the next day or 2 days or a month from now. Just put it in there new because it's old. Anyway, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, I was surprised that I didn't, had I known at the time.
Absolutely.
Yep. But anyways, I have some oil coming out of there, I believe, in the oil pan gasket. Incidentally, you were talking about spark plugs. My truck was running a little rich, and I called my mechanic, and he said, when's the last time he changed a spark plug?
Yeah.
And I said, never.
Never. People never. And it shocks the heck out of us. David,
yep.
As I said, the gentleman from California driving through Virginia that day, and he calls me, and it's got 130,000 miles, and his Cadillac North Star is misfiring. And I said, well, if you had plugs in it. He attacked me and said, what do you mean spark plugs? It's a coil or it's a... He called and asked for... I don't know who it was, but anyway.
Well, I think nowadays we rely too much on these warning lights to come up. And since I never saw a light, and I never really saw to have a tune-up or anything, so I did get the plugs and the wires replaced.
Good.
But I still have this nagging oil leak, and I hear commercials for products such as bars leaks. And I wonder, is that an application being with the miles on this, or does it have to be torn apart to get these items?
Well, I can tell you it's not an either or. You would start with the bars leaks, engine oil stop leak, because you got nothing to lose. And it's a product that's been around for years. This company's been, it was started by Fred Barton. And years ago, that's where the bars leaks came from. And I will tell you, I used their product for 35 years. I used their product before it was, the country before country was cool. So what I recommend is to you, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's a shame they didn't replace the rear main seal while they're in there, but there's a certain amount of, as I understand it, naphthenic oil in that formulation of the stop leak, and they could have updated that formula, but I learned that information some 15 years ago. And what that does, it helps to return, and here's what you don't want. You don't want to put a stop leak in there that swells the seal, because the seal will swell up and it doesn't know when to stop. So what bars leaks does is they know the percentage of this chemical in the formulation, and their product, as I understand it, returns about 12% of the resiliency back to the rubber seal, which often is enough to either slow and or stop the leak. So by all means, just go to barsproducts.com or barsleaks.com and look at the engine oil stop leak and try it. What I would do, is your Suburban ready for an oil change?
Yes.
Well, I'd wait till you got the oil change, because you don't want to put the chemical in the oil and then change the oil because the chemical drains out.
You think just conventional oil in a vehicle? I've always used conventional oil. Would you switch to a blend at this many miles, or stick with that?
Well, I would have already used a synthetic. I mean, I'm a Royal Purple fan, and yours would be just as good. You know, if your engine doesn't use oil, it's not going to use oil when you change and upgrade to a synthetic oil. Now, you didn't say synthetic; you said blend. And
synthetic, and I do use a quart every 3,000 miles.
Well, that's not a big deal. I would say, I don't know. How's the rest of the vehicle? Good shape?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'd upgrade it. But when I upgraded it, I would add the bars leaks to treat the seals, and then I'd drive it 3,500 miles, and I'd monitor the leak. I'd monitor the oil use, and I'd love for you to call me back if you'll upgrade this. What? How many miles does it have on it?
220.
Let's do it.
Okay, so synthetic, change to synthetic, fully synthetic with the bars leak?
Absolutely, and add bars leaks to it. Now, this is I'm going to put myself out on a limb here because you got 220,000 miles and you already got a leak. So let's just take the old wives' tales and move them aside, and I'll show you the confidence that I have in the products that I use. And if it were my vehicle, I'd attack it head on. Of course, I'd already replaced the seal, but that's neither here nor there. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You can find Royal Purple at Pep Boys, or go to royalpurple.com, and you can find Bosch products at almost any automotive store. Make sure that you buy those branded products because I know those branded products work. And let's see what the next 3,500 miles brings to you, David, there in New York. Does that work?
I'll give that a shot, and I'll get back with you.
I'll be right here every Saturday from 10 to noon. I thank you, my friend.
I thank you.
That's putting it on the line.